Hello, everyone, and welcome to the class. In this session, we will focus on all forms of the verb to be in English. So let's dive in. As you remember, English verb tenses can be categorized into two different groups: present tenses and past tenses. As for the present tenses, we have to be, simple present tense, present continuous tense, simple future tense, be going to future tense, present perfect tense, and present perfect continuous tense. As for the past tenses, we have simple past tense, past continuous tense, past perfect tense, and past perfect continuous tense. Today, in this lesson, we will focus on all forms of the verb to be. So this is like the basis of the English grammar. Let's get started. To be have four different forms. The present form, am, is, are. The past form, was, were. Future form, be. And perfect form, being. So let's check how each form is used. But before that, we will check how we use be and when we use be in English. So after to be, we can use a noun. Here we go. When we say I'm Canadian, or when we say you have been a lawyer for 2 years. So here in the second example, we say you have been because it's present perfect tense, because it's a process for 2 years. It's not only about the present time. It started in the past and it went on for some time and it is still valid at present. So it includes a process. That's why have been. And the third one, she was an Arsenal fan in the past. So here, in the past. So this means that this suggests that we need to use the past form of to be. So the subject is she. That's why we need to use she was. And they are firefighters. It's something about present, like the first one. I am Canadian. It's something about present, like it's a fact. We will be your hosts for the event next year. So it's talking about next year. So it's about future. So we can say, we will be your hosts for the event next year. In all these sentences, there is no main verb. We have just the auxiliary verb, to be, depending on the tenses like present, perfect, or past, or future. The second one, after be, we can also use an adjective. In the previous category, we only used nouns, and now we can use some adjectives. Let's check them. So when we say I am tall, tall is an adjective. When we say Einstein was very intelligent, so here Einstein, we all know that Einstein passed away, died many years ago. So the sentence is talking about past, someone who is not alive now, someone who is dead now. So here, the past form of was, Einstein was. It has been very hot lately. So in this case, we say it has been very hot lately because it's talking about recent process, or they will be very angry with you if you do not finish the project on time. So again here, it says if you do not finish the project on time. So it's talking about the future condition. And then that's why we need to say will be, future form, will be. We are going to be very proud when you graduate from university. So you haven't graduated from university yet, but we are going to be very proud when you graduate from university. So it's talking about the future. So in these examples, as you see, we only use an adjective after to be. So in the last category, be plus prepositional phrase. So prepositional phrase means we use a preposition like in, on, at, to, towards, from, etc. These are all called prepositions. Let's check them. I was at home an hour ago. So here, when you say I was at home, at is a preposition. So when you say at home, it becomes a prepositional phrase. But in everyday life, we generally don't use at. We just say I was home or I am home. So we don't use the preposition at in daily speaking. The next one, they are from New Zealand. They are from New Zealand. In this example, we are talking about a fact. where someone is from. He has been in New York since 2016. In this example, again, something started in the past and it went on some time and it is still valid at this point. So he has been in New York since 2016. It's a process. The meeting will be in Bonn, Germany next summer. So it's talking about future, next summer. That's why we need to use will be. Again, we have a preposition here, in Bonn. And in the previous one, we had in New York. And in the second one, we had from New Zealand. All these make these words and phrases prepositional phrase because they start with a preposition, like at, from, in. And the last one, we are going to be at a loss if we do not change our plan. So here, it's talking about the future condition. If we do not change our plan along the process in the future, we are going to be at a loss. So this means we will lose money. We will be in a difficult situation financially. Okay, that's it. Let's move on. Now it is time to check the major uses of to be, where we use to be, in which situations we use the verb to be. We can use it to talk about feelings and states. Here's an example. I am delighted with the news, but my brother is not happy. So here, I am delighted with the news. Delighted means I'm very pleased, very happy, very satisfied. It's talking about present time, so it's explaining present feeling. Delight is about feeling. Again, my brother is not happy. In this sentence, it's talking about my brother's feeling or emotions. Be is also used to talk about people's behavior. I am not so slow, but I'm rather careful. In these examples, there is, again, no verb. There's only an adjective. And with using these adjectives, we describe someone's behavior. So it tells something about, it describes someone's behavior. But again, without using any verbs. You were very rude to your mom when I came downstairs. So it's talking about the past. When I came is the past form of the verb. That's why we understand that we need to use the past form of to be at the beginning of the sentence. You were very rude to your mom. So here, can I say you are very rude? No, because we have an adverbial clause of time. When I came downstairs. So in this case, both sides of the sentence, the when part and the main clause, the first part, the beginning of the sentence should be in the same verb tense, like present, present, past, past. In this case, the when part, the adverbial clause of time part is in the past. That's why we need to use the beginning of the sentence in the past form as well. So you were very rude to your mom when I came downstairs. Again, can I say here, you are very rude? No, because are is present. But here, the when part, the adverbial clause part of the sentence, the when part is in the past. That's why the beginning of the sentence should be in the past form as well. This is called verb tense consistency in English. Be is used as a subject when we are talking about time, distance, weather, or cost. In this use, be is always singular. Let's check it. Hurry up, it's 8:30. We are talking about time. I didn't know it was so late. It's talking about the past, and it's still talking about time. It's 30 miles to Glasgow. Come and visit us. So it's talking about distance, how far a place is from another place. It's not very far. Again, talking about distance. It's cold today, but it isn't rainy. It's talking about weather. It's very expensive to live in Toronto. It's talking about cost. And really, Toronto is an expensive city. Okay. Be is also used to talk about nationality and group identity. Let's see the examples. Is she Irish or English? So Irish or English, these are about nationalities, right? I am an Arsenal fan. It's about a team. So like here, like Arsenal is the football team. And so it's talking about group identity. He's been a member of the rowing club for 20 years. So here, rowing club is a kind of club. So that's why talking about group identity here. It says for 20 years, that's why we are using have been or has been, the process. So here, the meaning of rowing is the sport or activity of rowing a boat. And if you don't know the meaning of rowing, again, here is a picture illustrating it. This is called rowing. Move on. B is used to talk about jobs and professions. For example, he is a firefighter. Both of my brothers are policemen. My grandmother was a nurse back in the day. Back in the day means in the past. It's very commonly used in everyday English. Back in the day, in the past. In these examples, so please be careful about a common mistake. So we say he is a firefighter. So please don't say he is firefighter. It's a grammar mistake. Or both of my brothers are policemen. So here policeman is plural. That's why we don't use an before it, because I'm talking about two brothers. My grandmother was a nurse. So here, my grandmother was a nurse is not correct. My grandmother was a nurse. We are talking about one person and we are talking about one profession. So we need to say a nurse. So especially for elementary level students or beginner level students, or even like pre-intermediate or intermediate level students, this can be a problem. Or sometimes I see this problem in my like upper intermediate level students as well in their speaking and writing. So they say, I am student. They say, I am engineer. No, these are not correct. I am a student. I am an engineer. An engineer. A student. These are important. Moving on. B is also used to talk about age. I was 17 when I met Bob. Again, verb tense consistency. Remember, we have the when part, it will be close of time. And in the when part, we use the past form, meet, met, met. So we use the second form, the past form of the verb. So that's why the beginning of the sentence should be also in the past form. I was 17. Can you say here, I am 17? No, not really. It's a grammar mistake. So I was 17 when I met Bob. So talking about the past. Because I wasn't 18, I couldn't vote in the last election. So it's talking about the last election. So it's talking about the past and using the past form of the modal verb can, like could. So I couldn't vote. So I was not eligible to vote. I was not allowed to vote because of the age limit. I was underaged. So that's why the beginning of the sentence should be also in parallel with the second part of the sentence. So it should also be in the past form because I was 18. I wasn't 18, sorry. It's talking about last elections and during that time, explaining the speaker's age. So the speaker wasn't 18 when the last election took place. The next one, how old is she? Again, we are asking someone's age. In these three examples, we are talking about the age of people. Moving on, B is used to talk about relationships. Namely, in other words, we use B to talk about how people are related to each other. Here's an example. He's my first cousin. So this is our relation. He is my cousin. They are my best friends. Again, this is our relation. Are you her sister? Are you her sister? Again, it's relation. B is used to talk about places. To put it another way, we can use B to refer to where places and things are situated or located. My aunt's house is on the edge of the lake. The location of my aunt's house. The shops are at the end of the street. The shops, plural, they are at the end of the street. Again, location of the shops. B is used to talk about modal expressions, modal verbs. There are a number of expressions with B which have modal meanings. For example, be to, be able to, be allowed to, be supposed to. Later, we will discuss each of them, but today I'm just focusing on these structures to highlight the fact that we can also use be within these specific modal verbs, modal structures. Here's an example. Will Martin be able to get everyone in his car? Will it be possible? Be able to? So be able to. Here we use be again. The next one, we say be supposed to. So it's talking about the past, an hour ago. So we use was were instead of be. We were supposed to get there an hour ago. This was the expectation. But this was the, I don't know, this was the thing that was supposed to happen, but it didn't happen. We were supposed to get there an hour ago. Here, get means arrive. We were supposed to arrive there an hour ago. So these are specific structures. So in these specific structures, be to, be able to, be allowed to, or be supposed to, we use the verb be. So we will check them later while discussing modal verbs. Moving on, be is used to talk about temporary or changing behavior. In other words, when we talk about a way of behaving at the moment of speaking, we use the continuous form of be. Here are some examples. You are being so annoying. So this means you are normally not annoying. Maybe normally you are a kind and understanding person. But now, at the time of speaking, you are being so annoying. So your character, your behavior is changing at the moment. So it's something specific. I know I am being silly, but I'm frightened. So normally I am a smart person, but now at the time of speaking, I feel like I'm getting stupid. I'm getting silly. Silly means stupid. But I'm frightened because something frightening is happening. That's why I feel frightened. I feel scared. Frightened means scared. So again, my general character, normally I am a smart person, but at the time of speaking, something is happening. So I feel like I'm behaving or I'm acting in a silly way. So in a stupid way. That's why I'm saying I'm being silly. We also have the structures like there is, there are, there was, there were, there has, or there have been. And these structures are used to talk about something existing. In this use, the form that be takes may be singular or plural, depending on the number of the noun, and be is sometimes contracted. Contracted means shortened. But remember, in academic writing, in IELTS, SELPEP, or TOEFL, in academic writing sections, or in college writing, we don't shorten the verb to be. So we always use the full form. So contractions are not appropriate, are not acceptable in academic writing. There is a spare toothbrush in the cupboard. There is a spare toothbrush in the cupboard. Spare means extra. So no one uses it right now. So there is a spare toothbrush in the cupboard. It's a fact. It's something about present because there's no future time expression. There's no past time expression. So we understand that it is something about a present fact. There was a cold wind blowing. So there was a cold wind blowing. So it's talking about the past. And in the past, there was a cold wind blowing. So the weather was windy. It's talking about the weather condition, but it's not about present. There isn't enough petrol for the journey. Petrol is like oil or fuel. There isn't enough petrol for the journey. It's about present fact. So this is true right now at the time of speech. There are several petrol stations on the way, aren't there? So here we say there are several petrol stations. So what's the difference between there is or there are? After there is, we use a singular countable noun or uncountable noun. So for example, when we say there is a spare toothbrush, we are talking about one toothbrush. Or when we say a cold wind, we are talking about something singular. Or when we say enough petrol, so we are talking about an uncountable noun. Petrol is uncountable. Or when we say several petrol stations, so here petrol stations is a plural countable noun. That's why we are saying there are. There have been improvements to the infrastructure and communication. So this means those improvements started in the past and they went on for some time and they are still in progress. They're still underway. They are still happening. So, and after have been, we have a plural countable noun. So have been improvements. This means it's a plural countable noun. Moving on. We use be to make the continuous form and the passive voice. For example, when we use present continuous tense, we say, I am reading. So here we have a verb, read. So the verb is the main verb of the sentence. I am reading a book. And this is happening right now. What was she doing in France? So it is past continuous. What was happening in the past? What was she doing? So here again, we have a main verb. Was plus the main verb, do, plus ing. This is passive verb, passive structure, passive use. So passive use of the simple past tense. The job was advertised. So here after was, we use verb 3, past participle of the verb, because it's talking about the last week. So it's talking about the past, and the subject is job, and the verb is advertise. So the job cannot advertise itself. So that's why we need a passive structure. Someone needs to advertise it. So that's why it should be the job was advertised. It is the past passive form. The house was being painted. So this explains something in progress in the past. But again, past continuous passive form. The subject is the house, and the verb is paint. So the house cannot paint itself. So that's why we need the passive structure here. What is the passive structure for simple past tense? Was verb plus verb 3. Passive structure for, again, for simple past tense is was verb plus verb 3. So we will cover the topic of passive structure later. So it is not our topic right now. So this is just a friendly reminder. So here the subject is the house. So it. That's why we need the auxiliary verb. The helping verb was, the past form. And then we need ing form of be, was being. So this means it was in progress. And then we need verb 3, painted. So here, why we say, or why we use like here just verb 3 after was, but in this example we have was, and then we have being, verb ing, and then we have verb 3. What's the reason here? Because this is the past structure of, sorry, this is the passive structure for simple past tense. Passive structure. And what is the structure here? To be, was or were, plus past participle, verb 3. But in the second one, in the second example here, we have a different verb tense. We have past continuous tense. And we have the passive structure of the past continuous tense. And what is the passive structure for this? Was or were plus being plus verb 3. So that's why, since this is the structure, we use this form. Okay, that's the reason. So I hope it makes sense. But again, we will cover the topic of passive voice later in our future classes. Moving on. So there are some important points I need to remind you for your speaking or writing in some international tests, like international tests of English, like IELTS, SIKLIKLA, or TOEFL, or other English tests. Please remember the following points. When we use there as a subject with be, we use there is plus singular noun or uncountable noun, and there are plus plural noun. And the same applies to there was or there were, or there has or there have. The same thing. After there was, we use uncountable noun or a singular countable noun. After there were, we use a plural noun. After there has, we use a singular noun or uncountable noun. After there have, we use a plural noun. Here are some examples. There are lots of wonderful places to see on the south coast. So here, after there are, we have a countable noun, plural noun, places. That's why we need there are. We cannot use there is here. So when we say there is lots of wonderful places, in a speaking test, in the IELTS or SIKLIKLA or other international tests of English like TOEFL, it will be a grammar mistake. So examiners will lower your score. However, in everyday English, for example, here in Canada, most people use only there is. It doesn't matter after that we have a countable noun, singular or plural noun, or uncountable noun. People mostly use the there is structure. So in other words, there is lots of wonderful places is correct in spoken language. But again, in everyday language, not in a test situation. In a test situation, it's always a grammar mistake. If you are watching some Netflix series or some other like series on different platforms like Prime or Movie or other platforms, so if you hear like there is plus a plural noun, don't feel confused. It's only informal and it's only for spoken language, for everyday language, not for a test situation, at least for now. Maybe in the future they will accept it, but now it's definitely a grammar mistake. We don't use auxiliary be to make questions with main verbs in the present simple. We use auxiliary do. So here be careful about simple present tense, do, does, and to be, am, is, are. This is another common mistake. Here are some examples. Do you live near here? So live is a verb. That's why you can use do here, not am, is, are. Can you say, are you live near here? No, it's a grammar mistake. You cannot say, are you live? But you can say, are you living? So it will be present continuous tense. But are you live is a grammar mistake. It's not correct. Do you accept credit cards? You go into a shop, you enter a store, and you ask, do you guys accept credit cards? Do you accept? Accept is a verb, and then we need to use simple present tense. Can you say, are you accept? No, because are or to be is used only while talking about an adjective, a prepositional phrase, or a noun. Remember it. Or you can use present continuous tense, right? But here, we generally don't use accept in present continuous tense. We don't say like, are you accepting? It's not that common. This is another common problem among non-native English speakers. Do you agree or disagree with the given statement? So it's a common IELTS writing task 2 question in both modules, like academic or general. Or in college essays as well. So most students say, are you agree or disagree? No, it's not correct. You cannot use are because agree is a verb or disagree is a verb. So you cannot use are. And when you answer the question, you can say, I agree or I disagree with the given statement. But you never say, I am agree or I am disagree with the given statement. This is a common grammar problem. So here at this point, please pause the video and make some notes. And please make sure you don't make those grammar mistakes, because these are really, really common in most of my students writing or speaking in my IELTS classes. Okay, let's move on. So now it is your turn. Challenge. Are you ready to take up the challenge? If so, let's get started. So now I want you to write am, is, are, the present form of to be, or was word, past form of to be, in the given gaps. Let's do one example together, and I will explain what you should pay attention to. Here in the first sentence, we have last year. So last year is about the past. So what is the past form of to be? Was, were. So this means you are supposed to use was or were. And you need to check the subject. What is the subject? She. So with she, we use was. So that's why the correct answer is was. Last year, she was 22. So it says now. Now is a time expression about present. So it's talking about the present time. And you need to think about the present form of to be. Am, is, are. You need to check the subject. The subject is she. So with she, we use is. She is 33. So now it is your turn. Please pause the video at this point. I will go on. So please pause the video and answer those questions. Grab a piece of paper, a pen or pencil, write down your answers. When you are done, please come back and watch the video and then see my explanations if you have any mistakes. Okay, I assume that you have already paused the video and you are done with the questions. You have already answered the questions, and now you are back and to see and to check your answers. Number 2, I see today, and then the subject is the weather, so it's about present. It should be is. And then I see yesterday, past, and then the subject is it, so the past form is was. Number 3, I hungry, can I have? So we need to check the second sentence here. Can is a present model. It's talking about the present time. And what is the subject? I. So I need to talk about present time, and the subject is I. So that's why I am hungry. Number 4, Again, we need to check the verb here, the time expression first, this morning. And what about the verb? Feel. Feel is present. So the beginning of the sentence is in the present tense. But I see but after comma, so this means there's a contrast here. And what about the second part of the sentence? It's about last night, so it's about past. And the subject is I, so the past form of to be, was, were. I was very tired. So number 5. Again, check the time expression. At 11 o'clock last Friday morning. Last Friday morning. It's about the past. And the subject is you. So the past form of to be, with you we use were, right? Where were you at 11 o'clock last Friday morning? Number 6. Again, let's check the time expression here. Don't buy. It's a negative imperative. So imperative sentences are in the present form. So the next part, again, so need to be in present form as well. They, so the subject is they are very expensive. They are very expensive. Number 7, again, the verb is like. Like is in the present form. So that's why the second part of the sentence should also be in the present form. And the subject is at, and then we are asking a question. That's why in questions, the modal verb, the auxiliary verb emizar or was were come at the beginning of the sentence. Is at expensive. Again, like is verb 1, present. So the next part of the sentence should also be in the present form. Number 8, this time last year. So this is the time expression. It's talking about last year, the same time that we are having right now. So, but it's in the past. So the subject is I. So it should be I was in Paris. Number 9, where Sam and Joe? And the answer says I don't know. So the answer is in the present tense. So this means the question should also be in the present tense. The subject is Sam and Joe. Instead of Sam and Joe, which pronoun would you use? Am, is, are. Sorry, I, you, he, she, it, we, they. Which pronoun you use? Subject pronoun. So you should use they, Sam and Joe. And it is present. So they are. It's a question. Where are they? Where are Sam and Joe? And the next part, it says a few minutes ago. A few minutes ago is about the past. And the subject is they. That's why you need to use the past form of to be. So they were here a few minutes ago. So here, at this point, after those explanations, I hope this makes more sense to you. And I hope the explanations were clear to you. One quick and friendly reminder here. All these the sentences here, exercises here may look simple or basic, but when it comes to speaking in the IELTS speaking test or in the SAPIP or other tests like TOEFL, so you guys generally make this mistake. Like you don't pay attention to the verb tenses. You use the different forms of to be randomly. So when you are talking about the past, most of you tend to use the present form of to be while talking about the past. Or the other way around. While talking about present, you guys may tend to use the past form of to be. So please be careful about it, especially in IELTS part 2, or especially in IELTS part 2 questions, or in general, like in IELTS part 1, part 3, or SAPIP speaking test, or TOEFL speaking test. So please be careful about this point. So again, the grammar part can be easy, but when it comes to usage, it may be a challenge. So practice makes perfect, so please keep practicing. Okay, so we started with to be and all forms of to be. I hope the lesson was clear to everyone. But if not, and if you have questions, please feel free to share your questions with me. So here is my contact information. Thank you so much for watching this video lesson until the very end. I will see you in the next video class. Thank you so much, everyone.